Hey, I am the Faceless Mermaid, or at least that's what I've chosen to call myself. Today we are creating a spider-mer-sona. Basically, I wanted to combine Spider-Man and I wanted to combine mermaids and make them into one thing. Recently I was watching some prickly alpaca videos that they used to post. Actually, I think they've posted one recently, but I'm not too sure. Where they kind of just make characters out of things. And I thought, why not do that, but with Spider-Man and mermaids? Seems like a good combination of special interests, if you ask me. So all I'm doing here, as you can kind of guess, is I'm just trying to draw out the body with shapes so that I can go back in and fill in the outlines. I draw the body with shapes, that way it gives me a better idea of how to proportion everything and determine what body shape I want to go for. With mermaids, it's a little bit different because I do have to go back in and kind of edit how I want the tail to look or the flute. I think I got it kind of right off the bat here. I may go in at a later time and change it just slightly, but I think for the purposes of this video, it's pretty good. Now here you can kind of see me changing the head shape, just because I thought the head was a little bit disproportionate to the rest of the body and wanted it to be more natural looking. Again, I'm going in here with shapes to draw out the arms. I'm not a huge fan of using circles for the elbows, just because I find that I don't draw the circles very accurately, and therefore it causes my elbows in drawings to look a little weird. But I think here it does the purpose of just kind of telling me where the elbow needs to go. For the hand, I wanted the standard Spider-Man pose of shooting a web. So that's kind of what I went for here, and while I was drawing this, I actually had my hand up in front of my face trying to reference it back and forth to make sure that I was drawing it the most accurate I could. And as you can see here, I even struggled a little bit and was trying to figure out why this looked so off to me and kept having to look back at my hand to figure out the reason. Once I had the hand shape down, I kind of went in and added some lines to kind of tell me where the hand was and make it a little bit more natural for my brain just so it would work a little bit better. And then also resizing the hand so that I can figure out, proportionately if it looked okay or not. And now you can see me here kind of using the lasso tool just to sit here and play with the positioning of the arm, because I kind of wanted to go for the sort of like Spider-Man swinging on webs through the world type of look. But somehow with mermaids, I think at a later date I'm going to go back in and sort of fill out the scene to make it kind of look like they are swinging through the water with webs. Because, I mean, yeah, mermaids are fast, but could you imagine, swinging through the water? I think that would be pretty fun. And then all I'm doing here is just drawing the other hand. I kind of tried to picture if I was swinging through the air or through the water by web, what would my other hand be doing? And I think genuinely my other hand would just kind of be there. Now, when drawing the mask, I had originally drawn a face and was like, wait, no, I'm literally drawing Spider-Man plus mermaids. There is no face. So I had to go back in and draw the mask. I wanted to draw it slightly different from Spider-Man's mask, which is what I tried to do with the eyes. I think it just ended up looking like Spider-Man's mask regardless. I don't think I changed that much. In fact, I think the eyes even kind of look reminiscent of like Deadpool in some ways. But unfortunately, I'm not changing it in this video. I may change it in a future video or change the color scheme. But for the purposes of this video, this is just like the sketch and rough flat colors of everything I wanted to do. And I think I'll go back in at a later time and sort of fill out the shading and make everything just look a little bit nicer. When it came to doing the webs for the hands, one of the issues I found was that the middle part where the webs start, I needed so many more little I guess like pointy pieces where the webs connect. Like, you know how it makes sort of like an arrow type shape. I found out I needed so many more of those than what I thought I would. So this is me just trying to figure out how I would connect all of those webs and where they needed to be for the arm to have webs and all the fingers to have webs and make it basically look like it's supposed to look. And you'll actually notice in just a little bit, I think you can hear police sirens in the background. I'm so sorry. You'll actually see in a little bit that I misdrew the direction of that glove, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So for the hair, I was originally going with the concept of like diver hair, where they kind of like wrap like, I think it's like a hair tie or something all the way around their hair so that it doesn't get super tangled and knotted. And then I decided I had no clue on how to draw that accurately. So I went with another very common dive hairstyle, which is braiding. And so honestly, braids are not my strong suit. I had to redraw this several times. In fact, I cut a lot of it out, not to bore you guys. But, so this is me just drawing braids, because what I was thinking, my logic was, if I was a mermaid and my hair was all over in the water, I would be so annoyed by the amount of tangles, knots, seaweed, you know, plants that would get caught in my hair. I'd be so annoyed. So I feel like diver hair or like dive hairstyles make the most sense, because scuba divers don't want all that stuff in their hair and they don't want their hair to get tangled or messed up. So that's what I'm thinking when I was drawing this. So it's like, well, spider mermaids wearing a mask, they're under the water. I would not want my hair flowing all the way around. I would want that in one spot so I would not have to, you know, cut it or brush it so much. And then all I did was just kind of resize the braid, because I originally drew it really, like, I guess thick, and I was not the vision I had. So now, if you notice this glove, I drew it in the exact same direction as the other glove. So I actually had to sort of draw out where gloves would be on my arms and tried to figure out how they were supposed to look, because I in fact had them very incorrect. All I'm doing now is I'm going and doing some line art. Let this be a reminder to you to turn on the stabilization for your brushes, because I apparently do not and have not ever turned on the stabilization for the main brush I use. To be fair, I mostly do art on my iPad on Procreate, and so I'm not used to having to turn the stabilization all the way up for like my computer program, which is Krita. But yeah, no, this was a mistake on my half, and you're just gonna have to bear with all of the bumps and organic lines that came about because I did not turn my stabilization on. Also, if you saw me just erase a secondary hand right there, it's because, I will admit it, I am a chronic mirror drawer. I guess I should say mirror artist, but whatever. I chronically have the mirror pin, or whatever the setting is called, turned on, which means it's always mirroring exactly what I'm doing, which is useful for things like the face, where I don't want to have to draw two of everything. But for hands and stuff, especially with hands in different positions, it does not help to have that mirror on. I do end up having to go in and erase quite a bit because I forget that I leave it on. So again, another wonderful example of me forgetting that I have the mirror turned on and me drawing a whole second arm that I didn't need. For the colors of this piece, like right now you see me drawing the mermaid tail and fluke. I just tried to choose different shades of red. I tried to not make it exactly the reds that Spider-Man has and just tried to go with the essence. But basically that's why there's that maroon color on the mask and then the lesser maroon color of the tail and the lighter red for the fluke, because my goal for the fluke is to eventually make it like translucent. Now, if you were to ask me why I chose this like blue-green color for the hair, I have no real honest answer for you. The only reason I can really think that I would have done it is because I wanted to kind of go for a mermaidy color and nothing else was really mermaid colors. So I just tried to do like blue-green for the sea. So here I am drawing this top, and as you can tell originally I did not like how the shape was coming out, so I actually tried to add these straps to make it a little bit neater, a little bit nicer. And then when I was drawing these straps, the little arches kind of reminded me of spider webs, so that is what we ended up doing for like the strap pieces and those little arches I created. I was just trying to emulate sort of spider web vibes. And now, why I didn't outline that top, I can't tell you. I should have outlined it, but you'll see that come back to bite me in a minute. And if you see me here, you know, drawing over and under certain things and not really worrying about it, it's because I plan to move some of the color layers around so that it doesn't really matter that the skin color is under them, because it'll just sit on top. And here I am just going in and filling in those colors for, like I said, the gloves and mask. And like I said, those are above the peach sort of skin color I chose so that they will not interfere. You know, the skin color isn't gonna be on top of the suit color layers, so it doesn't matter that it was messy. And as you can see here, again, the mirror drawing coming back to bite me. And then here, this is where I sit here and try to basically line art this entire shirt. And again, great reminder why you should have stabilization turned on your brush. But basically this whole shirt was a pain because again, I should have arted it the first time around. I should have lined it the first time around. Basically this entire thing took me way too long, and at one point I even deleted the whole layer by accident and had to sit here and press redo, hoping it would give it back to me. Thankfully, it did, give me the layer back, but I was so distraught for a good moment. And then I want to say these little windows where I tried to do the spider webs gave me the most trouble because I tried to originally line art them with the same thickness that the rest of the line art was, and that was just a mistake on my half. I should have done it with the thinner line to begin with. And in fact, I even made some mistakes, like right now you can kind of see it, where there is one side of the red strand in the middle that's open and there's one side that's closed. I do eventually go back in and fix that once I realize that there's no reason a line should be there because it's a connected piece, but bear with me as that stays on the screen for a little bit. And here is where you can see me finally fix that piece. What's crazy is I don't even know if I fixed it for the middle, so there's probably still a line on there that I'll have to go back in and fix later on. Now, if you can see some of these little pauses that happen, it is potentially the fact that my Wacom kept dying. Meaning, I had to charge it, but for some reason my Wacom will no longer work if it's charging into my computer. I don't know what happened with it. I don't know why my computer won't recognize it anymore through the cord. It will only recognize it via Bluetooth. So I don't know what's happening with that. I'll have to figure it out later. But if you see some weird moments, that's why. And like even right here, I'm pretty sure this is where I gave up and just let the Wacom charge and started using my mouse. And then here I'm just outlining the eyes, and you will see in just a second where I move the sketch layer to the top. That way I can basically copy what I've already drawn and do the web lines. And here you can even see I lowered that opacity just to give me a little bit more control when I'm trying to draw the lines. think the most difficult part about this was me just trying to make sure that all of the lines connected in some way, which led to some erasing and drawing new lines and just trying to picture how this would be if it was a real glove. As this glove starts getting drawn, soon you will see that I will color the fluke, and that pretty much will wrap up this drawing for now. Basically, this is just a sketch with flat colors. I do want to make a video potentially later in the future going back and giving this some shading, maybe my favorite thing to draw, which is glitter. Love drawing glitter. It is my favorite little art hack that I've ever learned. But yeah, that eventually is something I want to do, is I want to go back in and I want to add shading and highlights and just try to make it look a little bit better. Now, I'm not the best at shading, so it's not going to be great, but I do just kind of want to give it some more definition, especially with the mermaid tail. It looks really basic, and I'm honestly even debating going back and adding spider webs to the shirt just to give it more something, just because it's very flat right now. And while I don't hate what I've drawn, I do wish some of the proportions were just a little bit better, and maybe we'll do that in another video with that shading and everything. But for now, this is sort of, you know, the finished drawing, and I will come back in, and at the end you can even see me write work in progress over the top of it. But my goal is to eventually come back and make this a lot better. I think I even, like right here, I'm doing the hair. And I think I even want to go back in and maybe add highlights or like strands to kind of show where the hair is going, even though it's pretty like you can tell what it's doing. I just want to add more. Basically, that's the main thing, is I just want more here. But here is the finished sketch for now. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you want to see my previous video, you can check the link that's going to be popping up on your screen. And if you want to subscribe, just click my little icon. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.